Hi, welcome to wazza. Wazza is a fully open source gesture controlled AI wand that translates physical hand motions into real time digital commands. This allows you to prompt AI without actually typing, and it's actually very accessible for every single person, regardless of disability, regardless of accessibility, regardless of anything really. Now, wazza is combined by a physical build and code. And in the physical build, we have key features including the ESP32S3 Mini, specifically microcontroller. Now, I chose the Mini specifically because I could not fit any other single chip slash microcontroller into the actual one that would actually work accessibly, as opposed to any other model, essentially. So yeah, I use the MPU 6050 as the motion sensor for the gestures. Max 98 and 908357A speaker slash amplifier, SPH 0645, microphone 186050, LiPo battery cell, TPO 4056 USB-C battery charger module, tactical push button, a WS2812B RGB that works as the OLED screen. Well, not as the OLED screen, but it actually powers the OLED screen. I use 10 resistors and 3 electrolytic capacitors. Now, my schematic follows several designs as it is served in subtab groups, starting off with my USB-C. This is where the port comes from. This is where the microcontroller, everything is basically connected to the microcontroller in this one design. As you can see, I'm just showing the pins here. This was the early stages of my PCB right here. This is for the OLED screen, which allows me to connect it using resistors and capacitors. The speaker setup, and my final PCB is right here, and the wand, it's actually shaped like a remote, sort of, but it was catted on shape, and basically you slide this PCB under this. There's a opening on the other side where you slide the PCB into it. Now, my code actually involves how exactly this works. So my code is actually um posed into several parts. First of all, the agent, which is where the AI commands happens, and this is paired by the backend because the backend focuses on the AI logging setup, everything that it needs, the server, how it runs, Bluetooth, all that stuff. My firmware, which actually runs on the SRT, which shows how the audio works, how each it basically controls every single part that works. For example, let's take it to the LED FXH. Now, here, these are just the basic controls, and it gets into a more deeper retrospect when we get into the CPP. Now, we focus on the OLED LED strip. The main thing is through the main CPP and main H, but yeah, it focuses on everything. This is the one log, one state, platformio. Platformio is just how the Arduino basically runs. This is basically the basics of all of them. And yeah, this is my firmware. The most important part to actually getting this to work, especially on a demo scale, is the front end, which I worked on an app, and this probably took me the shortest out of everything here because the back end was it focuses on AI, focuses on a lot of the parts that are how to explain it. All the parts that are like really just functioning essentially. Now the front end, it allows you to essentially connect the wand to a screen, display the message, allow you to prompt, and allow you to actually prompt on a user-friendly scale. Now, I designed this specifically so that it's not touchscreen. This is not gonna work. Well, it's gonna work for touchscreen devices, but it's not exactly gonna work with a touchscreen sense, essentially. You're just gonna run it with the wand, and it basically works like a remote, essentially. Yeah. And for example, if we could go deeper into this, let me show you RGBs. These are for the RGB settings. This basically when it sparks, there's the RGB color. When there's a frost color, which is kind of like blue, it's these are RGBs. I set everything up specifically. Now the style, CSS. This is just the colors of the actual website. And yeah, that's basically Wazza. Wazza, I focus on the design mainly and the hardware retrospect and the physical, well, not the physical build, the software and hardware builds. I did not make the full physical build yet, and I plan to demo this in the very near future. And yeah, thanks guys.